Align and Awaken with Mother Earth Rising podcast. Let's rise and heal together with me, Pippa, your Mother Earth healer. Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're all well and doing amazing right now. Today I wanted to bring on a special guest, my favourite guest, and that is my partner and my twin flame and my best friend, and that's Chris. I know some of you have followed me for a while and you know a bit about our story, but I really want to bring him on to talk more about our separation, what we've been going through. And, you know, we've been separated now for 9 months and that's pretty tough, but we're making it, we're getting through it. So I wanted to bring him on so you can get to know how amazing he is.
Hello, beautiful. I do miss you so much.
I miss you too. I just feel like we always have such a powerful connection when we do things together. Like we have our online course, we do videos together, we do lives together. And when we come together and our energies reunite, it's just so huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I felt it the day I left you, and the strain of the energy has been tough. It's been a tough 9 months for both of us. And it's because we love each other so deeply. We're so madly in love. We spent half of COVID together in lockdowns, in each other's space for 24/7, rarely fought, if at all. I can't even think of a tiff we got into. And it's been tough, babe. It's been tough, but it's made us stronger.
It has. And I think today I really wanted to kind of talk to you about our heart messages. We've all come here with a message in our heart, I believe, whether that be, you know, to help people, to help animals, to help the planet, you know, whatever your gifts and purpose are, you have a heart message, you have something to share. And I feel like with you and I, our purpose is very similar in the sense of we want to help the planet, we want to help people and animals. But again, we spoke about this morning. We're just so similar, and that comes with the twin flame energy. We're like very similar souls. Like obviously, two people are never the same. You know, we have to have our differences. But when it comes to your heart message, like I'm going to ask you that towards the end. Like, you know, what is your heart message, so you can think about that. But I just feel like people need to hear what we will feel and hear our energy, because we're so blessed. You know, we're so blessed to be here. You know, if you can hear us right now, you know, you're blessed. You can hear us. You know, if you're just listening to us, or you're driving and you're seeing the beautiful scenery, you're blessed beyond measure. So for you, Chris, like what's been one of the hardest things about being separated from me that you found?
It's like, it's a double-edged sword, because I'm thinking about the technology. Like we talk about how blessed we are that I see you every day. And I talk to you twice a day, in the mornings and the evenings, because I was either 13 hours or 11 hours difference with the UK here in New Zealand. And I've been very fortunate that I can see you every day and smile and talk and do the things that we do. But then I think the hardest part is not being able to touch you, hug you, kiss you, you know, just caress you. So it is a total double-edged sword, because if we didn't have that technology, it would have been maybe easier in a sense that I could be a little bit more, I just feel like I'd be a little bit more disconnected. I don't know. But definitely the physical, not being able to just hold your hand while we drive. Like we used to do that all over the UK and in California. But you know, the hardest was leaving you last November at London Heathrow and not knowing when we're going to reunite. That has been by far the hardest part of this. If I had a date, time, whatever, and we still don't know, we're hopeful. We've gotten some good news this week, so we're hopeful it's soon, but definitely not having a date, babe. It has been brutally tough.
So yeah, for me is the trust and letting go of the when, because as humans, we want to know, when are we going away? When are we doing this? We plan. And for us, we're like planning in our manifestation mind of all the things we're going to do, all the things we want to see, all the things we want to do together. But when it comes down to the trust, for me, that if someone said to you and I separately, what has been your greatest lesson being separated? And I would say the trust. It's trusting the timing. It's trusting that we are separated for a much greater reason than we even realize. We've spoke about this. You've had amazing time to spend with your boys, to rebond. Think about, even though we would have loved it, if I'd have flown with you to New Zealand last year, they would have been adapting to me and adapting to a new life. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful in a sense. And isn't that powerful to be able to be grateful for something that you didn't really want?
Yeah.
To be separated from you
Yeah.
for so long, I would not have chosen. But when we look at we always have to look for the positives in what we would say is a negative situation. But we are so blessed.
We are. I mean, we are. Yeah. I mean, this relationship is going to last us the rest of our life. I have zero doubt on that. I absolutely, twin flame relationship. It's from the very beginning. It's been bonkers. It's just, both of us head over heels in love with each other. Both of us pushing ourselves spiritually to be better human beings, living our purpose. It's, I'm grateful, and you have to look at it that way. I think, yeah, like you said, trust. I said faith that we would get through this period, because I think, again, the unknown, it was like, oh, maybe next month, maybe next week, maybe, New Zealand will let in people in a couple weeks. We kept kicking the can down the road, and that has just been so hard. So if we would have known 9 months, yeah, maybe our outlook would have been a little bit different. Maybe we would have, wouldn't have worked as hard, to stay connected and to do the work. But I definitely am grateful in the separation that it's, when I left London, I was madly in love with you and I was devoted to you. Yet today I feel like I love you way more. I appreciate you way more. I will do anything to reunite with you besides abandon my kids. I mean, that's the only thing keeping me here. And, I feel like now that we've gotten through this and we feel like it's nearing the end. And if it's a few more months, it's a few more months. But I feel like you and I can get through anything after getting through this period.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Like everyone said that to me, my friends and family, you've gone through the hardest thing, and now we can be like, well, look what we got through. We had 9-12 months apart, and it's just, we had to get through it. Again, it was out of our control. Like you said, Chris, if we knew when you left in November last year, if you knew, okay, 1st September in 2021, you'll be reuniting, we would have worked towards that goal. But again, the unknown makes us have it works for us. It gives us that ability to go, well, we don't know the date. And isn't that the point of life? We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's around the corner. We don't know what's going to come into our life. But if we just trust in the universe, if we trust that whatever we do need will come at the exact right moment that we need it. It's the same cliche stuff you hear, things won't pass you by. The right people come into your life at the right time. The right jobs come into your life at the exact right moment. Everything is meant for you. Everything is meant for you. You and I came into each other's lives at the exact right moment. I know you want to talk about the whole when our probably energies crossed. We never saw each other physically, but that's a powerful story in itself, because I remember sitting there at that time, wondering what my soulmate looked like, wondering would I ever meet my soulmate, wondering what I wanted in a man, and I remember sitting on that beach and writing down those goals, and you were right above me.
Yeah. So I did this. I was just reminiscing because my memories came up from 2 years ago, and, my story was sad, and I was forced away from my kids for a while. I couldn't get back to New Zealand. Had to get some stuff done before that, but I'd finally was able to get the green light to come see my kids. And Now today I have 50% custody of them. I mean, they're in my care half the time. I fought hard for that, and I'll always fight hard for them, and as I'll fight hard for Pip. But at the time, there were so many unknowns, and I was an emotional wreck. I just, I'm a dad. That's, one of my, we'll talk about the heart messages, but being a parent, that is one of my greatest accomplishment. I have a PhD, teacher of the year. I was an officer in the Army. I made tons of money, blah, blah, blah. I have a list of accomplishments professionally that I don't care about. I care about my children and I care about my partner. And so on that trip, it was gut wrenching. It was tough. It was emotionally very hard. And I got on an airplane in Los Angeles with my sister, who thankfully came with me because I needed the support, the emotional support. And because of some rigmarole, I couldn't fly straight to Auckland. The ticket prices were outrageous. So I had to fly to Sydney first. And so it was like a 14-hour flight from LA. And I remember flying in and landing and then getting off the airplane. I actually felt great. I wasn't jet lagged at all. And I remember seeing a rainbow. And I was like, oh my God, this is a sign. This is a beautiful sign. And I took took a picture of the rainbow overlooking Sydney. And then I got on a plane a few hours later and flew to Auckland. Well, little did I know, on a beach underneath me was this beautiful woman from the UK. And it was one of the toughest trips of my life. And to have Pippa under me, what are the chances? I told her this morning, I was like, there's 8 billion people on Earth, or nearly 8 billion people on Earth. What are the chances that I flew over you and you used to go out every morning and watch the planes fly in? So your eyes locked in on my airplane as I flew over you. And then probably it's you can't write this stuff. And then within a couple of weeks you were messaging me. And then within a couple of months we were dating. And then within a couple of years we're going to be married and we're going to have kids and we're going to have this amazing story. Something I guarantee you the universe set that up. Every time, I think we've said this on a podcast before, but like the second Pip landed in LA, I remember my heart skipped a beat. I was driving up to pick her up. And then when I flew to London last year, when I overflew her radio went out. It just, you can't write this stuff. Like, it just gives you so much, when you think about it, you really think about it, it gives you so much hope and trust and faith, right?
It does. And I love that story because I remember I can't wait to take you to Sydney and take you to that beach.
I know.
I will sit with you and you'll see where I watch the planes come in.
Yeah.
But isn't it crazy that I think it was a month after you flew over me in Sydney, which we only kind of found out about a year ago when we were kind of looking through our photos. I remember sitting on that beach, you coming over. Obviously, but I didn't know that. So I'm just watching the planes come in. I know I get really deep in thought thinking, oh, I wonder where they're going and I wonder what they're doing. But then, as you said, the universe set it up. It's destiny. Like that was always going to be meant. And then a month later, I reached out to an animal podcast that I downloaded out of several science animal podcasts I could have downloaded. Yours was the one that I chose. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And me being me, I love supporting people. I reached out to you and I said, I love your podcast. Just started listening to it. I'm thinking about going back to grad school to study animal behavior because I do love animals. But again, like, isn't it crazy? So this is one thing I really want to get across to people. I feel like it's important for me to say it at this time. I had a calling in August 2019 while in Australia to go back to study a master's in animal behavior. Now, having said that, I had no experience in zoology. I had no experience in animal behavior. I had no experience in anything to do with science. I'd never done data. I'd never ran data. Anything in that experience, as Chris will know, because he's got a PhD and all that. So I just had this calling to go back to school. And my undergrad is in business and management. So it's a total spin because I love animals so much. And I remember getting in touch with Manchester Uni. I said I was coming home in September. I'd love to start studying the animal behaviour master's programme. And they said, yep, send your stuff over. we'll get you sorted. And actually, I should have gone for an interview to see, because I didn't have experience. They want to know that, what your skills are and what your wants and desires are. And I remember, because of the time, she just let me join. She just said, yeah, I think you have to write a statement, don't you, about who you are and what your beliefs are and things like that. And I must have written a pretty good one at the time, which I think I did. And she said, yeah, no need to come in for an interview. You got a place on the course. I was like, oh my God, so happy for that. But at the time I thought, right, I'm going to start listening to some podcasts and getting into animals and learn about them, because they do fascinate me. And that's when I came across All Creatures podcast.
Yeah.
I downloaded it. I started listening to it. So what I want to say is, I now have no desire to study animal behavior. But that didn't mean the calling in 2019 wasn't sufficient, because January of 2020, after I came back from LA, after spending 5 amazing days with Chris in Los Angeles, within 24 hours. So I started the degree in the September, the master's. I did 2 assignments. I passed both assignments, which I was so proud of. Went to LA in December to see Chris. Came back on the 4th of January, I think it was. And by the 5th, I should have had an exam on the 6th, I think. Which, I was nervous for. But at the same time, I had this feeling. I came back from LA and I sat there and I thought, I'm not meant to do this anymore. I'm not meant to carry on with this degree anymore. There's something, this burning desire inside of me is saying, leave, stop. And I remember within 24 hours of being back in the UK, I'd booked a flight to come back to LA for a month and I'd pulled out of uni. Now, some of you may have a judgment of, oh God, like you just pulled out of uni. And I remember some people did criticize me for it. That week I came back from LA was tough. My parents kind of criticized me a little bit. They just wanted me to be good and make sure I'm doing the right thing, because I can be quite hasty, as you know, and impulsive. But it wasn't about that. It was the burning desire I had that I was meant to start that degree for Chris to come into my life. And that's the point I want to get across to people. It doesn't matter if you don't finish a degree. It doesn't matter if you don't stay in a job. It doesn't matter if you don't stay in a relationship where you're not happy. Those burning desires and those callings that you have, they're meant for you to find something or to gain something or to lose something. And yeah, I had an amazing 3-4 months studying animals. It was amazing. But that degree brought me Chris. So I did the right thing, because if I'd stayed, what would, I said to you, Chris, if I'd stayed, it wouldn't have worked out, because COVID hit, all the course had been pushed back. It just wasn't meant. So I'm so proud of myself for sticking to those callings and doing what's best for me.
And I think that's an important point to make too, is trust your higher self. I remember a year ago when the New Zealand borders opened and we started writing exemptions, trying to get in to get to see my kids. And we tried together and they denied us. I tried alone, they denied us. And then we found an expert and said only Chris could probably make it in. But I remember meditating quite a bit. I meditate every day, which everybody should do. You got to really learn to quiet your mind for at least 5 minutes. I try to meditate at least 20 minutes a day. I'd like to get that up to 40, 45 minutes if I find the time. But I remember meditating and the message coming back to me as, you need more time with Pip. You need more time with Pip. You need more time with Pip. And this was like August, September, going into October. And I was like, I know, but Pip's coming with me eventually. This COVID stuff will be over by January, February. She'll be able to come in. I can spend 2 months without her. It will be fine. And now I know why. Now I absolutely know why those messages were, why I got denied early on. Because if I would have left, a year ago, it would have been that much harder on us. We had many more months to bond even tighter before I left the country. And I wish I had more time with you, honestly. Now that I'm here and you're there, I wish I would have waited till, I told you this, and your dad, if I would have known, I would have waited till like January, maybe February to get here. I know I had to get here for my children. They needed me, but it's just so hard. It's been so hard, but we've done it, babe. Like, I pat ourselves on the back. We've done it. We're doing it. We are strong. We're stronger. We're more madly in love for each other. And we've done a lot of work, internal work, because it's broad. That's what twin flame relationship does, is it brings up all your warts and wounds for you to heal. And, stuff that I've been getting upset about has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what happened to me in my past and stuff like that. So it's going to be, when we reunite, like the earth will shake. Our two energies coming together. People will feel it. It will feel it. It's destiny.
They will.
We're getting back together. Yeah. We are two big magnets coming together. They're slamming together. And never again, never again am I doing this ever.
I think a lot of people just so many people are rooting for us. They just know how long it's been and how hard it's been. But again, we're lucky. There's people in a lot worse situations than us, and our hearts go out to them all the time. And it's been the toughest thing I've gone through. It's tested me in so many ways. But it's funny, isn't it? I spoke to you about this yesterday. The last few weeks have been real about reminiscing, about going back to when we first connected, about, I've got a lot of past doors closing here because I'm leaving one life and going to another life. It's just, it really is amazing what we actually go through. Like, we think the suffering is happening to us. It's not, it's happening for us. If you're in that suffering mentality right now, everything's temporary. Everything's temporary, but we have to have the mentality of, it's happening for me. What is this happening? Why is this happening to me? As in, what can I learn from this? How is this helping me grow? How is this making me stronger? Because we can fall into the victim mode. That's an easy way to fall into, and that's part of the ego, which is probably another podcast that we'll probably talk about. But it really is, and I won't lie. It's been tough on Chris and I in so many ways. In ways of communication, in ways of keeping sexual energy up, in ways of playing the games and spending quality time together, especially when the UK came out of lockdown. It was like, woohoo, freedom, and then our schedule changed, from me being at home 24/7 to being out and doing the things that I love doing. So, but we've adapted. Like, we're just so adaptable, and we're so giving for each other, and we're so, we hold space for each other, and we've just blossomed. And like, one thing I do want to say is, we started dating on 11/11/2019. So think about that. That's coming up to 2 years in November. In the 18 months, just over 18 months that we've actually been dating, we've only spent 8 or 9 months together.
Physically.
Yeah. So we're still in the honeymoon period, guys.
Yeah. 2 years gone. We'll be in the honeymoon period till I die. But yeah, it's been, because, in our relationship, I was supposed to come see you in March of 2020. Obviously, COVID hit. It stopped that. But again, remember, again, I don't remember what we said on past podcasts, but I was about to board the plane. I was in Washington, D.C., Dulles Airport. They're boarding in 20 minutes. I'd already flown. I stopped off in Ohio for work. From LA to Ohio, and then Ohio to DC. I was about to board the plane. Then Donald Trump comes on TV and says some incoherent message about borders closed. And, but not the UK, but maybe the UK. It was so confusing. And I remember calling you, and I was in tears, and I'm like, I can't come. I can't make it. I'm so sorry. I can't, I have work, I'm teaching, I can't risk getting stuck in the UK right now. And that was a very tough moment for us. So I flew back to LA the next day, and we had a lot of growth over those next 6 weeks, because we did get in one of our worst tiffs where we didn't talk for like 5 or 6 days. And I remember after my shift, I told you, I'm coming. And I flew out April 30th through a pandemic, on a plane with 30 people, from LA to London. I didn't care. I was coming to you. And I stayed in the UK all those months. If I got on that plane in March, I probably wouldn't have flown in April. I probably would have pushed it back.
And you only had like 10 days. So I doubt we could have got all what we did in 10 days.
No. But remember so it's like you said, how everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And instead of getting upset and losing it, you really got to accept. Like, I think we've accepted a lot of this past 9 months, that a lot of it's out of our control. You know, we can't control what's going on with the pandemic. I can't control the New Zealand government's rules. I can't control I'm trying, but you know, I can't even fly out to see Pippa. I won't be able to get back in. So that's what's keeping me grounded here. But it all has purpose, because we look back in hindsight, especially over our relationship, everything has had purpose. How we met, how we started dating, how we started dating on 11/11. We didn't even know. We just said, okay, yeah, we're exclusive on this day. Okay. What's today? November 11th. Okay, cool. And then now, you know, six months later, a year later, we're like, oh my God, that was significant. You know, and then all the synchronicities, and then you flying out to LA twice, and then me living with you for nearly 7 months. And now, as soon as you get here, we're going to live together for the rest of our lives.
I just can't wait. Yeah. It's near the end. I feel it. Like I said, I keep having those moments where I'm like, near the end. And it just feels different at the moment. It feels different. And I feel like we're just going to come out of this and be like, oh my God, we got through that.
Mm-hmm. Always. I will always look back at this time in my life and go, that was one of the most difficult times in my life. You know, coming to a foreign country where, again, I have one good friend. I have zero family here besides my 2 children. And for me personally, for 9 months, making it work, staying connected to you, being a dad, getting all the legal stuff done. So, you know, I can be their dad. It's been a good but bittersweet, you know.
Yeah.
Experience.
So talking about you being a dad, you know, what would be your heart message to the world?
So, you know, I tell this to Pip. I always put her happiness and my children's happiness above my own. That's just how I am. It's my DNA. I can't change it. I won't change it. I do look after myself. I go work out. I'll buy nice food. You know, I get massages every other week. That's like me splurging on myself. My heart message is just to love, especially those nearest and dearest to you. So your partners, which can be some of the most challenging, you need to love them with everything you got, unconditionally. And so I think my heart message is to love unconditionally. I guess not just because I'm trying to get to surround my head around the heart message, because it's not just to my children. It's easy to love my children unconditionally. It's easy to love you most of the time unconditionally. To love the world unconditionally is my next great challenge.
Yeah.
That is very difficult, especially, you know, looking back home in the United States, what's going on, how people treat each other. But if I can learn to love everybody unconditionally, no matter what, I think I will achieve my purpose on this life during this lifetime.
Yeah, it's love has to be in my heart message too. It's the highest frequency on the whole earth, you know. And there's more of it needed throughout the whole planet. Love. I know Wayne Dyer talks about that. There's a quote he says, you know, see the light in others and treat them as that's all you see. It's the same with love, you know, see the love in others and treat them as that's all you see.
And that goes back to forgiveness. I think forgiveness is if you can't forgive somebody, you know, maybe we do another podcast on this one, because I'm such a believer in this, and some of my friends that I talk to. Well,
what about the Wayne Dyer quote of forgiveness? Do you remember that one?
Well, there's no justified resentments. So
yeah, and then there's forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it.
Yeah. Like
I'm getting to know my quotes now. I'm really proud of me.
Getting better than me.
Yeah, I keep talking about quotes all the time.
I'd have to write them down. But yeah, I think forgiveness, you know, not only loving unconditionally, but forgiving those who have betrayed you, hurt you, harmed you. You know, I'm not talking about staying with abuse, you know, but you have to, even when you get away from an abuser, to forgive them and give them unconditional love, because I'm such a believer that when you hold that anger inside you and that rage and those memories, it poisons your soul. It lowers your frequency and you carry it into your next relationships. So I'm a big believer in forgiving people that have done me wrong, and done those I love. And I think the hardest for me, not so much me, but say my children or Pip or the people I love, because I'm such a protector. So if you harm them, it's going to take a lot for me to forgive you. But that's something I really believe, maybe we can talk about it at a future date. It is important for the world.
It is. Forgiveness is the medicine of peace. I think it really is, because that's another podcast we can talk about forgiveness, and we could talk about it for hours. But
here you go. Here's one.
Go on.
After all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Can you finish it?
Look what a love like that can do. It can light up the whole world.
Yep.
That's what I want tattooed on me. That's going to be a tattoo on my body at some point.
Yep. There you go. Yeah.
That is a powerful one that Wayne talks about. I can't think who the poet was. I think it was Hafiz. Yeah, it's Hafiz.
Yes.
So even after all this time, so think about if we break it down, after all this time, the sun and the moon's been around since the dawn of time, which is
4 billion years.
4 billion years. Thank you, my evolutionist. So not like the dinosaurs and the cavemen. That was so funny. Yeah. So even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me."
Yeah.
Look what a love like that can do. It lights up the whole world. And that's what me and Chris are getting at, is that when you see the love in everybody, it does light up the whole world. Just by you sharing your heart message, that lights up the whole world. But again, the owe me is the whole what's going on in the world right now. I've done you a favor, you do me a favor. It's the expectations of all that. But again, another podcast, another day. But it is a powerful quote. And it means a lot to us both. So today was about sharing our heart messages. And again, my heart message would just be to become love. As St. Francis' prayer, where there is hatred, let me sow love. So it's about becoming love, not asking for love, becoming love. What does becoming love look like to you? The world needs that. The world needs that. And if you can find that love in your heart and your soul, share it. Doesn't matter if someone wrongs you, hurts you, whatever it is, just try your hardest to send them love. It's just they need it the most. It really is. So my heart message is to become love. Yeah.
I love it. I love you.
I love you too. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know you probably do. I always love talking to Chris, and we're just so aligned in our heart messages and what we want to do for the world. We want to just help so many people, so many animals, leave our stamp on the planet before we part back to the realm of love, unconditional love.
Yeah, the real life. Yeah.
So thank you for coming on, Chris. I love you so much.
Love you too, babe. Anytime.
Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you've got any questions, please reach out. And if you want to listen to Chris's podcast, it's All Creatures Pod. I'll put his podcast in the show notes so you can have a listen. You'll know where I found him. I actually listened to episode 1, which is pretty funny because that was when he talked about evolution.
So bad. It's so bad.
Yeah. So I should go back to episode 1 for me. It's so funny how much we grow, but it's amazing how much you've grown since then.
Yeah, 4 years ago. Yeah.
So guys, I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.